Welcome back to another episode of Marv's Room. Listen, let's just get straight into it. Today's video is going to be about some of my LOA myths that I believe are actually myths in the law of attraction, law of assumption community, what my truths are. I used to see these videos done by different content creators a few years ago when I first started my channel, as well as before when I used to surf the internet and surf YouTube for different law of attraction videos when I was on my journey to studying. So the first myth that I want to bust, the myth that even if you believe in law of attraction, law of assumption, you still have to work hard in order to manifest things, in order to get what you want. I want you guys to listen to me very carefully. All the action in the world will not override a belief. I'm going to say that one more time. All the action in the world will not override a belief. It doesn't matter how hard you work. It doesn't matter how many hours you put in. You could work 100 hours a week. You could work 200 hours a week. Whatever that number is for you, that magic number. If you do not believe what you're going to do is going to work, is going to be successful, most likely 9 times out of 10, it won't be successful. It does not matter how hard you work. You don't believe. You see, the universe we live in is a universe of harmony. It is a universe of working together. Universe wants to give you everything that you want via the path of least resistance. For those that are familiar with Abraham Hicks' works, you've probably heard that term a lot. This is the way through which the universe brings us our manifestations effortlessly. But as you guys know, who have been studying this and who have been actively trying to manifest things in your life, it's not necessarily the universe that gets in your way. It's us. It's our own thoughts, and predominantly it's our beliefs. Whatever we feel about a certain subject on any given day over an extended period of time, this is what causes things to take so long, is because our beliefs are not in alignment with what we actually want. You have to figure out what your belief problems are and why you're not able to manifest certain things quicker versus other people are able to manifest things quicker, because it's all an individual thing. Everybody's at different levels, different states of manifestation. Everybody's at a different level of consciousness. So whatever your beliefs are may not be the next person's beliefs, may not be your friend's beliefs, may not be coworkers' beliefs, or whatever the case may be. You gotta ask yourself, okay, what are my beliefs about working hard? What are my beliefs about manifesting? Do I believe I can manifest, but the only way for me to manifest is to work hard? If you have that belief, then guess what? Most likely all of your manifestations, you're going to get them, but it's going to take an immense amount of hard work, because that's where your belief is. All of us, we all have the ability to manifest quickly. We all have the ability to manifest instantaneously. We all have that ability, but that doesn't mean it's going to happen for us. All of us can 100% manifest things without working hard for it. However, the truth is, most of us probably will not. Most of us probably will not manifest anything fast or without hard work, because we have so many thoughts from growing up, from childhood to watching TV to hearing different entrepreneurs, different gurus, whether it's, your Gary Vee's or your Grant Cardones or whoever else. You constantly hear people beat into your head that,
oh, you gotta work hard to get where you want. You gotta work hard to get what you want.
So it's naturally a subconscious belief that many of us have developed over the years that we can't get what we want without working hard. As we know from studying LOA, that's just simply not the case. So many people in this world coming to money, coming to things, they get it without working hard. They get it based on their beliefs. Funny thing is even if they don't necessarily believe it, people still manifest these things a lot of times, even when they don't believe it. However, because they don't believe it, really deep down on a subconscious level, they end up losing it. Yes, you can get these manifestations fast, but you really won't keep these manifestations. And I want to give you an example of this with a friend of mine that I used to know. This guy used to work really hard at what he did. He used to work really hard at making music, making beats. He was a natural performer. He was a natural musician. He was a natural everything. But something that I realized with him, and he told me this at some point, I forget when this was years ago. This was back around, I don't know, 2015, maybe 2016. I really can't remember. But I remember seeing him work so hard, but nothing would ever work out for him. He would always feel that whatever it was he was doing, or something would always happen. I remember we went to go see a performance at one point in New York, and while he was performing by himself on stage, his music cut off while he was performing. So I remember shortly after that performance, we were talking one day. He said to me, you know why bad things always keep happening? And I said, no, why? I said, why is that? And he said, because I want it to happen. he was saying to me, he was explaining he didn't want what he was doing to succeed. He was working towards it, but deep down, he really didn't want it to succeed. He didn't want it to blow up. He didn't really believe in it blowing up. So what kept manifesting was he was working hard for these shows, but the shows would never pan out the way he wanted to, or something bad would happen. But he was the one that intentionally was hoping and wishing that something went bad. And guess what? Because he was wishing that, what inevitably ended up happening was things did go bad. Now, me on the outside looking in, I'm thinking to myself at the time, before I was like more consciously aware, I'm thinking to myself, why do these things keep happening to him? Later to find out they were happening because deep down, he didn't want it to happen in a good way. He wanted it to kind of like self-sabotage. He didn't really want it, even though that's what he was chasing. It. What he was chasing at the time, he was struggling between how he grew up as a child and certain beliefs that he had, you know, being that, oh, music is bad, you shouldn't chase this as a career, music is of Satan, being an entertainer is of Satan, all of these different beliefs that he had. So even though he wanted to become this entertainer or do this music thing, he had so many negative beliefs, which is what we're talking about, the belief in working harder, the belief that you got to do X, Y, and Z to go after something. This is so crucial to understanding why things are not working out for you. And this is also crucial to understand the path of least resistance that you're going to need to take, because like I said, it's tailor-made for everybody. Everybody's path of least resistance is tailor-made. Sometimes affirming 100 times a day or 200 times a day or 10,000 times a day, whatever the case may be, sometimes that is not the path of least resistance for you. So you have to ask yourself, when I affirm this much in one day, is this actually creating a path of least resistance for me? Is this actually me working hard? Is there another way that I can do this without affirming 10,000 times a day to make it not feel like I'm working hard? What is my path of least resistance? Because like I said, the universe wants to deliver everything to you via the path of least resistance, but it's up to you, the individual, to figure out what that path is and then apply that. This brings me to my number 2 point on myth busting in law of attraction, law of assumption, which is you need to be in high vibration in order to manifest things. I know a lot of you guys have heard law of attraction teachers say this in the past, more so law of attraction, because there is a distinction that I've seen between law of attraction and law of assumption. A lot of law of assumption coaches don't talk about being in high vibration, and they just, quite frankly, condemn it. In my opinion, you technically don't need to be in high vibration in order to manifest. However, that does not mean that being in high vibration is not important, because high vibration is 100% important. Please do not listen to any of these law of assumption teachers that tell you your feelings don't matter. How you feel being in high vibrations don't matter. The correct statement, in my opinion, is it doesn't matter you being in that state 100% of the time. That's the correct statement, in my opinion. You don't need to be in high vibration 100% of the time to manifest. In fact, I'm going to go out on a limb and say none of us are 100% in a high vibration state most times in order to manifest anything in our lives. But please do not discredit and condemn being in a high vibrational state. Being in a high vibrational state is 100% important, and it does, and it can 100% help you speed up manifestations, and it can help you feel good just to feel good. As a conscious creator, I think it's extremely important and extremely powerful if we can get ourselves to a state to where we are on a high vibrational level pretty much as often and as frequent as we can. But for some reason, I think most of us, we always look for reasons and ways, and we wait for somebody to say something that we agree with things like, oh, you don't need to do X, Y, and Z. I just think us collectively as people, we always try to find shortcuts. We try to find any and every excuse to avoid doing something that we don't have to do. This is one of those things. So when people say high vibration, I think people always look at being in high vibration as doing hard work, or it's too hard to stay in a high vibrational state. People think that that's hard work. They avoid trying to do it. Maintaining a high vibrational frequency in the beginning may be difficult, as anything is in the beginning for a lot of us, especially since we tell ourselves when we first start something out, we constantly naturally tell ourselves, oh, this is going to be difficult. This is going to be difficult. Manifesting is going to be difficult. Staying in a high vibration is going to be difficult. So if we're naturally telling ourselves that, then guess what's going to happen? Being in a high vibrational state will be difficult. If we start a new job, guess what's going to happen? That new job is going to be difficult. If we start a new relationship and our first thought is, oh, this is going to be difficult. Relationships are hard. If you have these beliefs, going back to my first point that I made earlier, and guess what? That will end up being your experience. Also too, let me explain to you why being in a high vibrational state actually is needed and why it actually will benefit you 100%. And that is because when you live in the law of assumption, you can assume something eventually and you can attract it. But my biggest thing is there's so many of us, law of assumption, law of attraction, when we attract things, guess what? A lot of us lose it. Why do we lose it? Because we don't know how to maintain something. We lose it because we never taught ourselves, because we listen to so many, whether it's other YouTube coaches or whoever, we listen to these people tell us, oh, we don't need to be in a high vibrational state. Well, guess what? If you're not in a high vibrational state, you're not in that consistently, you're most likely going to lose whatever it was that you attracted because you didn't learn how to keep the frequency of what it is that you manifested. What I mean by this as an example is think about lottery winners. Like I said, a lot of lottery winners, they manifest winning the lottery, whatever that amount of money is. It could be millions, it could be hundreds of thousands, it could be smaller wins. Within 5 years, they lose everything. They go broke. So why is that? Because they used law of assumption, they used law of attraction to attract the winnings, but because they didn't know how to maintain the frequency of wealth, they didn't learn how to vibrate at a higher state to maintain that lump sum of money that they won, they lost it. This is why I laugh whenever I hear people say things like,
you don't need to have high vibration in order to manifest. All you need to do is assume.
yes, like I said, they are right. All you have to do is assume. But I guarantee you, because you never taught yourself how to be in a high frequency, how to match up with that level on a quantum level, you're not going to keep it. Because what's going to happen when every day we go through the ups and downs, the ebbs and flows of life? Most of us will never stay in this state 24/7. Whatever that state is that we're grasping for to manifest whatever it is that we want, whether it's a relationship, whether it's the feeling of being wealthy, whether it's the feeling of having your dream job, most of us will never stay in that state 24/7. So it's our job to learn how to fluctuate and to be able to say, today I don't feel good, but maybe tomorrow I can get back on track. Okay, so for these last 2 or 3 days I didn't feel good, but maybe the next day I can get back on track. If you don't learn how to deal with these ebbs and flows and you attract something and then all of a sudden you allow your frequency to drop and your frequency doesn't match what you have manifested, whether it's a job, a relationship, etc., when these trials and tribulations come up, because trust me, they will, because that's another myth people don't realize about things. I'm telling you that there is a high probability you will probably lose what you manifested. This brings me to my next point, and that is once you get your SP back, or once you get your manifestation or whatever it is that you wanted to manifest, once you get that, your job is done. That could not be further from the truth. I tell people all the time religiously, once you manifest something in your life, whether you manifested it via working hard or whether you manifested it naturally without working hard, it just came effortless, whatever it is that you manifested, you need to keep it. The energy you use to manifest something versus the energy you use to keep something is two different things. The reason it's two different things is because we have emotions. We go through the ebbs and flows of life. Understand, life is a marathon. Like the great Nipsey Hussle used to say, life is a marathon. It is not a sprint. Understand that just because you feel like you've mastered law of attraction today doesn't mean you're going to feel this way a year from now, because a year from now, you don't know what devastating news could come out. Because when life happens, that causes us as human beings to go through the ebbs and flows. So this year could be perfect for you. You could have manifested your dream job. You could have manifested your dream girlfriend or boyfriend. You could have manifested your dream house, all of that type of stuff. But what's going to happen when you lose that loved one that was super close to you? You get that unexpected phone call that such and such passed away from a car accident. What's going to happen? I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. Your vibration is going to come all the way from up here. The assumption that you're living is going to come from up here to all the way down here. This is why one of the most common things that I want you guys to get rid of, another myth, is to stop thinking that once you get what you wanted, once you manifest that the work is done. The work will never be done. Work will never be done until you go in the ground. But every day while you're alive above earth, you're constantly evolving, trying to become better than you were yesterday, trying to become a more conscious creator, trying to become a better creator. You have to maintain the fights that you're going to get with your specific person. Don't sit here and tell me that just because you get the right specific person that no fights are going to happen. You're going to have fights in your relationship. You're going to have disagreements in your relationship, guaranteed. because most of us will never master life or master relationships or master anything on that level, which is a side note, which is another myth that you can master law of attraction. Nobody can really master law of attraction. Nobody can really master this stuff. You want to say somebody mastered it? There may have been 1% of people on this earth throughout every living human being that ever lived that has probably mastered law of attraction. Whether you want to say Jesus, whether you want to say maybe some Buddhist monks up in Tibet somewhere, whatever the case may be, very, very few people, 0.00001% of the population probably has mastered manifestation. But I just wanted to give that to you as a little side salad. Back to your job is not done as a manifester once you get what you want. It's not done. What are you going to do at your job when you manifest your perfect dream job and your boss leaves that you really like, and then there's a new guy comes in and you hate him? What are you going to do at your job when you have coworkers that you work with and you hate your coworkers? See, these are things that happen unexpectedly at jobs and throughout life and different things like that people don't think about. And so these things all mess with your vibrational state, which goes back to what we talked about earlier, raising your vibration. When you guys go through these different trials and tribulations, dealing with your bosses, dealing with your husbands or wives or girlfriends or boyfriends, etc., whoever in your regular day-to-day life, this is what allows your frequency to go from one level to another, whether it's high to low or low to high. And you need to be able to manage these things. And the way to manage these things is to actually do the work and to not think, all I gotta do is live in the inn. Because if you don't know on a practical level how to manage your emotions and how to manage when you deal with certain people, because on that outside, it sounds good. Like,
oh, if you have a troubled worker at work, all you got to do is live in the inn. If you have a boss you can't stand, all you got to do is live in the inn. If your girlfriend or boyfriend is...
Listen, all of this advice, it sounds really easy on the surface, but if it was that easy, people wouldn't be watching these videos. People would be thriving in their relationships. Divorce rates wouldn't be over 50%. Men wouldn't be giving up on relationships. Women wouldn't be giving up on relationships. If everything that I'm talking about in this video is this easy. This is something I want all of you to think about, is a lot of this stuff is not as easy as some of these YouTubers, whoever else you're listening to. It's not as easy as they paint it out to be. And most likely it's going to take you a lot of time to get it, which brings me to my next point, the myth of I can get my specific person overnight, or I can get this and that overnight. Listen, this is another huge myth. I know you guys don't like hearing this, but I'm here to bring you guys the truth. I'm not here to lie to you guys. You guys need to go to people who tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. And a lot of times I realize people go to people that tell them things that they want to hear because it makes them feel good. But at the same time, a lot of people are lying to you, and they openly know that they're lying to you. But see, you don't know that they're lying to you because they're spoon feeding you everything that you want to hear. And some of these people know that you want to hear that, so they keep telling you that, lying to you. That's not my job. Being a real person, being a real coach, trying to help you guys get real lasting results. Most of you guys, the truth is, will not get your manifestations overnight. The truth is, most of you guys will not get a specific person in 1 day, in 1 week, in 30 days, in 6 months, in 1 year. Listen, the truth is everybody's situation is different. Some of you can get SP back in a very short period of time. That highly has to do with your state of being. That highly has to do with whatever maybe childhood stuff you went through, your belief system, as we talked about earlier in the video. All of these things come into play when it comes to manifesting anything in your life, whether it's money, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a job, whatever your beliefs are about that situation, that most likely is going to determine how quickly that thing that you want is or is not going to come to you. And then based on those beliefs, you need to come up with a schedule or routine working with somebody to where you can try to help yourself get past those beliefs a lot quicker. But the reality is it's going to take most of us quite some time. I've seen most people, they personally take at least a year, if not longer, to manifest some things. What happens is they watch videos of other YouTubers, or they see people in comment section talking a lot of negative talk saying,
Oh, it's because you're doing it wrong. You're not doing it this way. All you have to do is affirm. Stop listening to law of attraction coaches, because law of attraction coaches don't know what you're talking about. Blah, 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 blah.
Everybody's different. You have to look at the majority versus the minority. That exists for a reason. Like I said earlier, if this stuff was easy, there would be no need for YouTube videos. Everybody would be out here having a perfect relationship, having a perfect everything. But that's just not the case. Very, very small percentage, sad to say, will actually be able to manifest their person back fairly quickly because they don't have resistance. They don't have the resistance that most people have. Most people on this earth, we have resistance, and rightfully so. Don't feel bad or guilty about the resistance that you have. Learn the right pieces to be able to deal with it. And like I said in one of my other videos, just be able to learn to have the right arsenal. So when you're going through something in your life and your manifesting journey, you know what weapon to take out of your arsenal to use for that problem, whether it's affirmations, whether it's scripts, whether it's visualization, whatever the case may be, because they're out there. I think most of us, if we get rid of this idea of we're going to be able to manifest manifestations overnight, if we can get rid of that thought, then a lot of the anxiety would go away with it. Because a lot of the anxiety we experience as manifestors, in my opinion, the anxiety we experience period just in life, a lot of times in my experience, is self-inflicted. We do it to ourselves. We do it to ourselves because we set unrealistic expectations for whatever it is that we're trying to manifest or whatever it is that we're going through in our life. Those unreal expectations make us say, oh, this is not impossible. Oh, I need it by this deadline. And then when that doesn't happen, we feel like a failure. It all comes back to that one basic principle of fear of not getting what we want when we want. But it's not really real, because even if we don't get what we want at that right time, does that mean we really failed? No. It doesn't mean we failed. It just means that we didn't get it at that moment, but that doesn't mean we won't get it in the next moment. That doesn't mean we won't get it next week, next month, next year. It just means we didn't get it right then and there. Please don't listen to any of these coaches that are promising you, telling you that you're going to get your manifestation in 3 days if you do X, Y, and Z. You're going to get your manifestation in a week if you do X, Y, and Z. 9 times out of 10, most likely, even if you tell yourself you believe it, because most likely you don't believe it, because your beliefs aren't going to shift that fast, because you're constantly trying to make your beliefs shift that fast. You're not doing it on an unconscious level to where your unconscious mind believes it, because your unconscious mind needs to believe it, not your conscious mind. My last myth-busting LOA is you don't need to heal, you don't need to do shadow work in order to manifest. Again, this is true for some, but in my opinion, from what I've seen, there are 100% people that have gone through things in their life where they 100% need to do shadow work. They 100% need to heal whatever happened to them in their lives. Does this mean everybody? Absolutely not. There's always the minority of the people that they might have gone through something traumatic. They can literally get through it by just assuming I'm healed, or telling themselves something like, I'm healed, I'm a better person, I'm worthy. They can heal that way. There are some people that can do that no matter what traumatic experience they've been through. They can find worthiness in that. The statistics, the numbers from talking to people, that shows me it's not as simple as just affirming or visualizing a traumatic experience away. And the crazy thing is I see people in the comments of different videos. When I used to watch a bunch of different videos and I was in different groups on Facebook or whatever the case was, or Reddit, I used to see different people saying things like,
Oh, you don't need to do that. You don't need to heal. You don't need to do shadow work. You don't need to go see a therapist.
they say all these things, and I'm thinking to myself, how do you know? You don't know what traumatic experience this person has been. And a lot of us don't realize this. I've said this in a past video before. I said this to people that I work with one-on-one. A lot of us, we can't heal. We can't visualize, because every time we visualize, we might close our eyes and we might see the original sin that happened. So when we do that, how can you tell somebody visualize and imagine that they are with a specific person or that they are in their dream relationship, when every time they close their eyes, all they can see is that time that they got assaulted by whoever they were with? Think about that. This is what people don't think about. So whenever I hear people say things like they can't visualize, sometimes my mind goes to, this person might have had a traumatic experience that they might need to deal with in therapy, because that might be the reason why they can't visualize. And there's nothing wrong with that. If that's the path you need to take, then take that path. But don't let people on YouTube in the comment section shame you into thinking, oh, if I go to therapy, I'm doing it wrong. I don't need to go to therapy. Don't let these people in the comment section shame you into thinking, oh, I'm not a powerful manifester because I'm taking it this route and I don't have to just affirm like they are. No, stop. You guys got to get rid of that mentality. Truth is, a lot of us, we do need to do shadow work. We do need to heal. We do need to do Ho'oponopono. We cannot just close our eyes and do Sats technique and live in the end. We cannot just affirm 24/7. That's not going to work for some of us, if not a lot of us. There's nothing wrong with taking that approach and then going to therapy and finding somebody. And if you need to do that, do that. And you will be surprised by going to get help or talking to somebody about this type of stuff that can walk you through it, how that actually enhances your manifesting ability once you deal with whatever the original sin was, whatever the trauma was, whether it was a relationship, a very bad breakup, or whatever the case may be. A lot of people can't can't get to the next level. They can't see themselves loving another human being. They can't see themselves finding love. Can't see themselves getting back with their SP. Can't do any of this stuff because every time they close their eyes, it's like Neville says. Neville says, sin is the cause of the unrevised scenes of the past. Keep replaying the original sin over and over and over again in your mind. You keep replaying that night when you went through the text message on the phone of your SP and you find out that they had cheated on you. You keep replaying the original sin in your mind. This is why you can't move forward, because you haven't revised it and you haven't healed it. Even those people that tell you the law of assumption you don't need to heal, they don't know what they're talking about, because Neville clearly said revise. And what is revision? Revision is going back to the past and changing an incident, changing a scene that happened to how you wished it would have happened. This is living proof. Like, you guys got to think, stop getting upset and stop getting hurt when people in the comments say these things and think that you're doing it wrong, because you're not. I assure you, you're not. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to click the next one, because I'm sure you'll enjoy that one too.